7:52 now, 1320 WILS. Polls closing in just 8 minutes now, very close to the end, and then we'll maybe begin to get some results. But the real effect on you personally may have to do with your family and friends. In fact, Facebook battles have ensued over this election. Veronica Sites is here to tell us how to deal with that. She's an expert in conflict resolution, anger management, and stress management. Veronica Sites, find her at conflictresolutionspeaker.com. Veronica, great to have you on WILS.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, and what's when people get on Facebook and start going at each other, is that all bad, or is it good to kind of get out there and speak your mind?
It's all context of the relationship, context of how people decide to engage. Unfriending is not the end of the world. It's the timing of when did you decide to unfriend? Was it in the middle of a heated discussion? That could send a stronger message. If it was on the backside of that conversation and you just decided, you know what, this is taking the relationship in a direction I don't want it to go, It's okay to block things, and we need to keep in perspective all things must not be taken personally.
Yeah, I've never understood it because you're having a public argument, right? So other people can read the potentially nasty back and forth. Well, why do people do that kind of thing?
Well, and that's the compromising of the relationship. The entire tribe of whoever's wall or conversation you're blasting that individual. There is a self-preservation in unfriending or blocking somebody, but the individual that begins to let emotions guide the conversations and interaction on Facebook sometimes they do cross the line of the difference between emotions, making bad choices, and verbally vomiting on a wall of Facebook or any social media platform versus recognizing and getting the emotions in check being careful about it.
Have you ever unfriended anybody, Veronica?
I have.
Because of this kind of thing, or?
No. When I unfriend, I usually let them know. I give them a warning. I let them know, this is not something I choose to do on a public platform. We can discuss this privately or, face to face, but this isn't going to happen on my wall. Yeah. And so they get a warning, they get blocked, and then if it continues, they get unfriended, and I reach out to resolve it.
If someone feels that this election has shown them, they made a decision about a person based on what happened in this election, the support they showed for one or the other candidate, do you think that it's appropriate for them to have kind of a final viewpoint on that person as being one way or the other?
One of the things that an individual has is, we have difference of opinions, but consider personally what is the value of that friendship, and remember that people mirror what is modeled. So if you want to reconcile the relationship, choose within yourself to extend that olive branch and stand the ground of elevating the value of the relationship versus letting yourself re-engage in what instigated the temporary barrier or the severing off of a social media platform.
How do you make sense of people getting so personal and angry over a presidential race? Neither of them are running.
That's a thing where it's a lack of skills in recognizing that we all have the same words that we can use. It's the mental real estate that we either give to others or we give up when emotionally buttons are pushed within us.
Okay. We
chose friends.
Yeah. Is it the fact that it's public? You think if it was just an email, a personal one back and forth, it just wouldn't get that way? Or?
The public platforms are, when it takes place there, it's like throwing gasoline on a heated discussion. So you just have this inflamed situation because it isn't between you and that person alone. The entire public that follows each other's wall is exposed to it, and that's a pretty vulnerable place to put a friendship. It's like throwing them under a bus.
And you really, I can tell you, being on the radio, I hear from both sides, and there are people that really despise. I mean, to the bone, both Donald and Hillary. When you see, what do you think that's really all about, Veronica?
I really believe that something that's taking place that we've seen on social media is the behavior is largely a byproduct of what is the immediate environment, whether it's the environment of being on social media and just engaging
but let me,
in
is it something about like Hillary that reminds them of something and they just despise her on that level? Or what do you think drives this real deep-seated hatred?
I think what drives a lot of the emotional in individuals is the fact that these are our potential leaders, and these are character situations that if it's too close to home, it really fuels some soft spots inside of people. And character can't be changed by somebody unless they choose to, be consistent and persistent in their character.
It reminds them of somebody like Donald Trump may remind a woman of someone they dealt with in the past, and so they're convinced he's a horrible person, that kind of thing.
Well, it can be either way. I mean, it's just this election is so monumental in the scope of how ugly it's been, the precedent that will be set, whatever, our president chosen is. But the truth is, tomorrow we're all going to wake up with an inhale, we're going to have an exhale and some thoughts, and then we need to each decide what we're going to do about engaging as individual citizens to make this country strong.
So
and
maintain. Are we going to go back to being, I don't know, normal, or what do you think is going to happen?
Well, what needs to be established in light of everything is we independently each need to decide what our new normal is going to be, because there's been a lot of damage verbally and socially through media as a result of engaging in the debates.
Yeah. Well, tonight we'll have the final results. Veronica Sites, find her at conflictresolutionspeaker.com. You think you could get Hillary and Donald into one room and get them to like each other?
I would relish that moment for sure.
I'd like to see that. Veronica Sites, conflictresolutionspeaker.com. Veronica, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
And we are now heading right into live Fox News coverage. The polls are closing in 30 seconds, although if anyone that is in line will still be able to vote. But as we heard, it's very, very close in Michigan. We'll see if anything gets called. The prediction you heard here first was that it won't happen at 8, so we'll see if that's accurate. But continue listening to 1320 WILS. Have a good night. Bye-bye.